who do you think sort of ends up being the champion in your division by the end of the year? You got Khabib and Tony fighting. You got maybe Conor fighting. You know, the winner of those guys. Who do you think ends up being the champion by the end of the year?
Hey, if I had a mystic ball like that, I'd be a millionaire. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be out here fist fighting for a living. So it's hard to tell. You know, that Tony Khabib fight, I think, is a true coin flip. I think that's an incredible matchup of styles. And yeah, I would like to see. I think Conor's going to get the next shot. And yeah, a lot of people hate on him, and they think he's holding up the division. But I think he's very good for the division, and he adds a great deal of intrigue, you know, for the mainstream audience to be attracted to this division. I think it's important that his name kind of sticks around it.
I mean, it's a funny effect because for the guys that are waiting for title shots, you know, good guys like Justin Gaethje and stuff, it's kind of a bit of a bummer. But for yourself, do you feel like Conor McGregor holding up the division, getting this title shot, is kind of maybe even better for yourself because it opens up more opportunities for you to fight these guys like Dustin and Justin who are trying to wait for these potential big title opportunities or fights with Conor McGregor and can't really do anything for a long period of time?
Yeah, well, as long as there's clarity, you know, now that Tony and Khabib is matched, that's clarity in the division. And Dana White says, okay, Conor's getting the next shot at the title. That's guaranteed. That's clarity for the division. I think it's the problems arise in the guys that are just outside of that that position. Is that like me trying to get an opponent for this UFC Auckland card? There was a lot of guys sitting on the fence because they potentially, you know, even Felder, he potentially was gunning for the Conor McGregor fight. So he was, rather than jumping on this fight, he would sit back and he would wait to see if Conor chose him to be that opponent that he ended up picking Cowboy for that matchup. So, you know, when the waters are murky, I think it's difficult to get a matchup. Like it was Justin Gaethje said that he was offered this fight. He was offered the main event in UFC Auckland, which would have been an incredible show for the fans. But he turned it down because he was waiting for the Conor McGregor fight, which he didn't get. So he's just sat out and missed the boat and missed the opportunity. So if the UFC would have said, look, you're not getting the fight, Cowboy's getting the fight, then potentially we'd see a Justin Gaethje, Dan Hooker main event this weekend.
I'll tell you what, that is a fight. I mean, people... See, the dog has started barking. The Submission Radio news dog, Winston, just started barking because it's such an exciting fight. I think in a lot of ways, Paul Felder and then Justin Gaethje, those could be two epic fights for you back to back. Just quickly on Dustin Poirier, I know you mentioned him in Melbourne. He's trying to chase up this fight with Nate Diaz. Just quickly, your reaction to Dustin really wanting to fight Nate Diaz out of everybody in the division right now?
I can see it. Look, everyone's just got to do what's best for them and what's best for their career. Fighting Dan Hooker is not what's best for Dustin Poirier's career, trust me. Fighting Nate Diaz, I can see it. It's a very winnable fight for him and someone I think he picks apart fairly easily. And then, you know, the Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor correction, you know, he gets a win over Nate, then that Conor fight's like a little closer for Poirier. So I can understand it, and I can see, you know, Nate's a huge name in the mainstream audience because of the win over Conor, and it's a huge name for not, and I'm gonna catch a lot of shit, not the most difficult fight stylistically.
Well, out of the guys in the division, like when you look at potential guys that you could be fighting, guys like Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, do you see Nate Diaz as kind of the easiest matchup for you?
For me specifically, I think that fight is very straightforward. And a lot of other guys in the division, I think that fight is a pretty straightforward matchup.
I was wondering, because when you said that fighting you for Dustin isn't best for his career, you mean like from a sense of name value or just mean like stylistically?
I think both. I think I'm a difficult fight for him. I think it's a dangerous matchup. I think he needs to get back in the win column, and I don't feel like I'm the right guy for that.
It'll be funny though, because if you do win here and you mention him in your post-fight speech, and he knocks the fight back again, but yet he doesn't fight anybody else, what kind of message do you think that sends about him?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the fans react to that, because they don't like guys sitting out. They don't like guys sitting out. They don't like guys turning down fights without giving a valid reason. His reason last time was he wanted the Conor fight, or he wanted he was sitting out waiting for something else. Like, you're gonna run out of excuses pretty quick. I don't know, man. That Gaethje fight's like ringing a bell. Gaethje, Poirier, Gaethje. One of them's gets me a little more excited.
The dog loves it.